Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Ashley May. Ooh, it is a pretty nice day out today. We got a fast main track, good turf course. Of course, you see on the screen right now, if you're watching this, race 2 is off the turf, Ashley, but the Rainbow Six mandatory, they're on the turf.
Mandatory payout today. Some big fields later on in the program, and I think that shot didn't look as sunny as it is near us, right outside the walking ring here, but so far good weather. I think we might get maybe smooth sailing today and no rain.
Yeah, no rain. We're hoping. Yeah, as you know, if it's South Florida, it's summer, anything can happen, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day. The turf course is listed as good. Race 2 is the only one taking off the turf this afternoon, and the big day is because it's mandatory payout. So going in, we had like 500,000 or thereabouts already in the pool, so you know it's going to be up there in the millions, so we'll see how that plays out. And before we get to that Rainbow Six a little later on, we got a couple of pick fives today. 3 pick fours, and Ashley's got an early pick 5 ticket.
Looking at the sequence, I stick with my $36. We have a field of 2-year-old maidens in the first race going 5 furlongs over the main track. I just used 2 horses in here, the number 7, Honeymoon Suite, the morning line favorite, as well as the number 5, first-time starter out of the Jeff Engler barn, Ride On By. Race 2, I'll use 3 horses in here. This is the race that you mentioned we are off the turf for today. It's going to be moved to a mile over the main track. I use the number 1, Secret Touch, who draws in, as well as the number 4, Not So Subtle, who I did like in this spot on the turf. Still going to use this one. And then my top pick being the number 6, Swing West, another main track only entrant. Race 3, 2 deep in this race. I was between 2 and 3 horses. I went with 2. I went with the number 2, Beast from the East, and the 7, Cajun Mandate, who I think has some race day experience that should help that one. Race 4, I used 3 runners in here. My top pick is the number 3, Bright Devil. And I used 2 others in here, the 6, King of Dreams, the 7, Full Meanie. Then to wrap things up, just 2 deep in race 5, I used the number 4, Demo Wonder, and the 6, Race Day Speed.
Well, that fourth race today, of course, is our stakes race of the afternoon for 3-year-olds. That's not surprising, so we'll see how that plays out. And we agree. Sort of. I know in the first race we agree. Definitely, we don't agree with the board currently right now. Dean Delivers is the current 6-5 favorite. But I went with Honeymoon Suite like you did. Is moving to the main track today after dueling for the lead and finishing 3rd in its 5-furlong career debut on the dirt. Just ran well in that race for Mark Cassey. And I just think that these 2 horses, they're trying the turf, they're trying the dirt, they're just trying to get some races into them.
I definitely agree. I just think the debut was respectable as well. It was on the turf, but showed that early speed and just kind of, tired a little bit in there on debut. Roman Poet was much the best, winning by 2 1/4 lengths in there. New rider today, Misiel Jaramillo, is going to climb aboard. Was a price last time. Actually didn't take respect, which is something we don't necessarily see from the Mark Cassey runners as these 2-year-olds, but I just think the race day edge might help.
And the number 5, Ride On By, is the son of his now debuting for Jeff Engler with a couple of really solid 3-furlong workouts showing in preparation for this assignment. Sammy Camacho is going to jump aboard, and another horse, very early in the wagering, I think is going to take some money in here just because of the connections and the breeding with the Tisnow on the front side.
And then you just look at the purchase price, $52,000 from OBS just a few months ago back in April. And you mentioned a couple workouts. We always talk about this when you start to see these 2-year-olds that have a lot of drills under the belt. This is one that has probably the fewest that we've seen recently, but they're both pretty sharp, which is what I caught my eye. I mean, obviously the first one, 35 and 4, but more recently, 36 flat, breezing out of the gate. I think that's a pretty nice morning move.
Yeah, you actually had the 2. Well, we both had the 2 a little further down on our ticket. Dean Delivers, but you can't go by the early betting. You got to wait till things go out. I also use the inside horse. King is always king. He's looking to be crowned, I guess, as the winner in his debut for Antonio Sano. He's a son of American Freedom by Pulpit, and he's got a ton of stamina tweaking Palm Meadows workout showing. They were really working his horse well. We'll see if that's the way to go, or is it someone with the light workouts?
Yeah, I don't know. I went with another horse, the number 3, Bossy Holiday, who's similar to your horse. Has a lot of workouts under his belt. I just thought yesterday Ivan Delos debuted a homebred that ran 2nd in the opener. These ones might have had a couple workouts together.
Well, race number 2 today is the only one that was taken off the turf. It was originally going to be a mile in the 16th on the turf. It's a mile now on the main track. It's a claimers 4 and up, non-winners of a race since December 26, 12-5, so it's a dated claimer. And I went to the inside with the 1, Secret Touch, who's dropping into this dated claimer for the red-hot Bob Hess Jr. Bond, return from the layoff. Showed some speed in that race and weakened against those 25 optional claimers. And to be perfectly honest, I just went with the hot hand. That barn seems to everything they're running, they're starting is running very well.
The barn's doing tremendous, 28% currently at the meet. I think the reason I use this horse lower, I still use this horse in the early pick 5, is just the 2 performances here. Obviously, there was a break in between them, the return to the races. really didn't show much. Only beat one runner in there, was beaten by 18.5. I know this is some class relief, second off the layoff, so I didn't want to not use this horse, but I just kind of used him a little lower in terms of my selections here.
Well, the number 6 Swing West was the other one entered for the main track, stepping up the competition after a couple of narrow defeats at the distance against those 6,250 claimers. Once again, it's a lateral move.
It's a lateral move, especially just knowing here that this has been moved to the main track. Other horses in here probably don't want to be on the dirt today, but are still going to race over the surface. And you've just mentioned, look at his last couple races, go down. I mean, the last off-the-board finish you see is all the way back in June of 2020, and that was at Churchill Downs, while trying to break the maiden. So he's had a good year so far this year, but still hasn't found the winner's circle. But I'm going to use this one on top. I just think has the edge.
Well, I got a horse, an angle I like to call turn-the-page angle. If you printed out your PPs on regular paper, the number 11 horse was on the other page. And you look at this horse, and that's County Court. He's stretching out to the mile. He rallied to finish second against those dated claimers. He's run well on the fast track, on the wet track, and it's one of those horses that I went, oh, look at this horse when I was re-handicapping for going to the main track, so keep that in mind. Let's go to race number 3, 5.5 furlongs, 2-year-olds, $25,000, and we both went with the number 7 Cajun Mandate, who's dropping to the 25 level today.
Dropping out of the 25 out of that maiden special weight against Florida breds. And we have a stat here from Michael Yates. I know we talked about the barn, and they've had a good meet so far, winning at 14%. But with second-time starters the past 3 years, they're 10 for 54, and 19% of the time in the winner's circle, and 48% of the money with a $1.58 ROI. I mean, you can just see this has some race day experience. Look at the other horses in here. I just think this horse might have learned something on debut, and even going into the debut, had some good workouts, just also had kind of a poor break in some sense.
Yeah, I mean, I always watch what Mike's doing. He had a winner yesterday, actually, so he does exceptionally well with 2-year-olds. And if you see Cajun Breeze, you always got to give a second look, and this one being Cajun Mandate. I did go with the horse you have in third and second, Schenectady Star, who's a gelded son of Cairo Prince, debuting for Tim Ham, with a couple of stamina tweaking 5 furlong workouts showing in preparation. Romero Mirage is going to hop aboard today, and just another one. I like the fact that this horse has got a couple of 5 furlong works.
When you look at some of the 5 furlong works, maybe the one on June 9th, really not eye-catching at all, 105-1. But over the wet fast on June 17th, 101-2 breezing from the gate. I think that was a step up. We saw Tim Ham, I think last week, finally got an impressive win in a lot of ways. I didn't even see the horse coming all the way on the outside after he re-rallied. So the barn always just does tremendous work with their 2-year-olds.
And you went with the number 2 horse in second. That's Beast from the East.
When you look at the barn for Rory Miller, maybe not a lot of experience with first-time starters, 0 for 3 so far, but 2-year-olds, they win at 18%, pretty nice stat. And I think looking at the 2 works since coming here from Gulfstream Park from another facility, they've both been sharp. So I thought this one was interesting. This is a 2-year-old colt by Uncaptured out of a trap shot mare. I think there might be a little bit of speed in there, too.
Well, we'll see how these 2-year-olds play. That's the beauty of the summer racing here in South Florida. You got to watch these horses. Always good to watch the board, too. Feature race is early in the afternoon today, and it is the 4th race. It's 1 mile on the turf for 3-year-olds. It is the Not Surprising. And you went with the number 3 horse in here. And I had it a little further down on the ticket. I like that pick for you, Bright Devil, the Irish bred.
I'm hoping we get 5-1. I'm hoping I'm sneaky here. But again, Mark Cassie and Edwin Gonzalez, we've been talking about this. They're winning at almost 50% here at the meet overall. A lot of the success is coming with the first-time starters. But looking at this one, had the race at Belmont, I should say, back in the fall. Really didn't show much in the Grade 3 Futurity. Then had some time off. Okay race, was going 5/8. They decided, let's take this horse longer. Had never really gone over a mile in his career, and a mile 16th, he got the job done. He was forwardly placed and kept to task in there. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this race shapes up. Could have some early speed once again.
Yeah, I have a little further down the ticket, but I wasn't sold on anybody else. I actually thought 2 horses ran well in there, and that was the 7 Fulmini today and the 4 Siglioso. We're going to go back and show you their first start. First, we're going to show you the start when Fulmini in there, who's the number 3 horse, just breaks awkwardly in there, and it's sort of a little underneath. He gets that stumble in there, and he sort of gets swallowed up early on by the competition. But boy, he's good, and we're going to pick it up in the top of the stretch, and you're going to see there is Sigloso, the number 7. Fulmini is the number 3, and they just run exceptionally well to the wire, and it just looked like it's Fulmini's game. He comes up and he's going to run well, but here comes the horse that comes flying at the end, Siglioso, and catches him.
Yeah, and it's an interesting race to just watch because you talk about kind of the way the race played out in the case of Fulmini, an awkward start, but was able to close from off the pace, which typically he's closer to the pace in general. And even you mentioned the other runner that you have interest in, the number 4 today, Siglosio. just missed by an ounce.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a good performance by both. But with that said, I went with the 6, King of Dreams, who's turning back to the mile. I thought a couple of sharp efforts going longer, which includes that set to pace second in the 8.5 furlong English Channel, 2 starts back, then comes back and has that front running 75 optional claiming score, going 9 furlongs last time out. I just thought that this horse, with that speed in here would run well enough. He is the morning line favorite, and I think just off those last couple of performances, you have to give him a second look.
You mentioned last time he had to keep the task. It was the furthest distance test for him, going a mile and an eighth. Now on the cutback to a mile, I think he'll be in a good spot today. And when you mentioned he was the pace setter in the English Channel, the horse that beat him, yes, this time's a pretty nice colt in my opinion. So to just miss by 3/4 after kind of having to set the tempo in there, I think that bodes well for him.
Yeah, he looks like he's done all the dirty work in those last couple of races. Race 5 this afternoon on the main track, 6 furlongs, claim his fillies. 3-year-olds or 4 and up that have not won 3 in life. And number 6, race day speed, goes to the Jorge Delgado barn. After the claim, the barn is on, like 40% first off the claim. You got to give him a second look.
When you look at the last 2 races here at Gulfstream Park, obviously 2 starts back, was in deeper waters, finished kind of mid-pack in there, but was well beaten. I mean, the winner, 'Tis Possible Dear, drew clear, but last time out at the 62.50 claiming game at 7 furlongs, I think it was a pretty easy win in the end. And now going to get first-time Lasix, which may not be a barn angle to look at. I mean, only, they're 0 for 7, but something to at least note in here.
Well, the number 4, Demo Wonders, dropping to the 6,250 level after failing to fire when fading to 5th against 20 claimers last time out for Ken Sweezy. Looks like a good spot. Edwin Gonzalez, love the work that he does, so he's handling the class relief today. These look like the logical 2 to make.
Yeah, when this filly won last time out, I mean, it was her last race, I should say, that she won. It was back in February, was in for a $20,000 tag, drew clear by a length in there, was favored. Beat some horses that I think are kind of well-respected in that $20,000 level, but 2 starts back. The turf race, obviously turf was not her game. And then last time out, maybe just, needed a race and was a little outclassed. So she's really taken a drop today.
Let's go to race 6, 5.5 furlongs. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, $6,250. Number 2, Forced to Hope, dropping to the 6,250 level after responding in that first race after the claim by Jose D'Angelo. And the 4-month layoff ran pretty good third in there.
Ran a really good third, only missed by a length, dead heated for third. And, the record kind of going into that race was okay here at Gulfstream Park. Was able to win, and break the maiden here back in December. But you mentioned in a new barn for the second start. We'll take a look at a trainer stat here for Jose Francisco D'Angelo, who does well first off the claim, but does very well second off the claim as well the past 2 years. 7 for 37, 19%. I feel like that's the magic number today. 19% in the winner's circle, 49% in the money with a $1.20 ROI. So the ROI, not that strong, but you can see his horse has been running really well second off the claim. So now you look at the 12.5, now in for the 6,250. Looks very live.
And then number 6, No Commission, moves to the Jorge Delgado barn after the claim. Lots of claims over the last couple of days. These barns, the horses must be just walking around. Wait, I don't live here. I live over there. And this one drops into this level. He finished that troubled starting 6 against those 12-5 claimers last time out. The barn, a monster, 33% with new claims. So right there, these guys are going to be dueling. And you're getting leading jock Edgar Zayas.
Wish you could do a stat of like a horse going from Safi to Jorge's barn, because they both do well first off the claim. Their numbers in general are strong. I was disappointed with that effort last time out at the 12.5 level. I know it was first off the layoff after having some time off, but didn't really show much to me and took a lot of play in that race. So I still think this horse could obviously improve second off the layoff for the new connections, but use this one for second rather than on top.
Well, we're going to take a short break, come back. We've got mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. We'll show you my ticket and look at the rest of the 12 race card. welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Ashley. It is mandatory payout. It's 11:42 a.m. And let's take a look at my $97.20 ticket. I'm looking for a partner, and I'm looking right over my left shoulder. Maybe this one has about 20 bucks. She can throw me. I don't know if we agree, but I got lots of coverage early on. You know, it's just one of these days where you step it up because everything's got to go. 3 deep in here. Personal Meadow, the King Achilles, and I used the 6 Bono or Bono, however you want to say the name of that horse. I really like Catano in the 8th race. I've had a lot of success with that horse, but I wanted some coverage. Go to race number 10, and this is where I really like Cramden this afternoon. I don't know if you used that horse in your ticket, but I used Mr. Tito's for Jennifer Young, too, because the horse was very impressive from a tough post last time out. In race number 11, I went 3 deep in there with, I think Union Gap's the one to beat, but I wanted some coverage, and I was able to step it up in the last race. My long shot today is the 2 Wolfhand, who's beautifully bred for the turf. He's a gelded son of Candy Rod. He drops to the 12.5 level. Last he's seen, he was just running against better at Keeneland. Mirat Sankal going to take the blinkers off. I think he's 8 or 10 to 1 on the board. I think he's an intriguing long shot in there. So got lots of coverage. Days like this, not 43.20, 97.20.
Well, I knew it wasn't going to be 43.20. Now, I would be willing to split it with you, but race 10, we kind of differ there. So I don't know if we're going to agree. I don't know if I can chip in on this ticket.
Well, we'll get a B. We'll get a B ticket in there. Well, let's get into the 7th race, 5.5 furlongs. We've got a lot to cover in the last 7 races on the card, 6 races on the card. Personal Rainbow 6, I say 7 races. I'm glad you used the 1 on the inside. Boy, if I had more money, I would go deeper in this race. I know Personal Meadow looks good, cutting back to the 5.5 furlongs after setting the pace, yielding late to finish second. Oscar Gonzalez, Emissy El Jaramillo. He's the one, but after that, it's pretty shaky in here.
See, when I saw Personal Meadow and I didn't look at the other horses, I was like, okay, who can beat Personal Meadow? Because I think this horse likes to kind of hang in the stretch a little bit, finish second. I just think today this is probably his best chances of graduating and breaking his maiden. Look at those last couple of races. I mean, he's kind of yielded late, it says. He tired a little bit. Now I think the key maybe is going to 5.5. He's been at 6 and 7 furlongs his last 2 starts.
Yeah, and the King Achilles is dropping a notch, re-rallied to finish third when facing those 16 maidens, going 5.5 furlongs. You can just go back and look at that race. I always respect these lower-level horses when they re-rally. It looks like he was game last time out. You get a chance to look at the video. You should. Louis Ramirez, Chantel Sutherland is having a nice summer meeting here. We'll be in the saddle today.
Yeah, I think she had a winner yesterday on the card. And I think when you look at this horse, you mentioned the re-rally, also had to steady in there and just had traffic. So I think it was a third beaten by a length and a half. I think it's respectable. I think if anyone's probably going to beat Personal Meadow, we both agree this is the next horse to use.
Yeah, I would think so. Let's go to race number 8, and this one is on the turf. And by the way, the rail setting today would be 36 feet on all the turf races, I believe, this afternoon. So make sure you mark that down if you're making some numbers up. This one is a mile in the 16th. Starter optional claimant for 3-year-olds. Started for 35 or less, so the optional tag of $35,000. And as I mentioned, Caratano, I've had a lot of success with this horse, and I've had a couple of tough beats with this horse. So I want to go back and just show you his last race. We're going to pick it up for the turn for a home to the wire, and you'll see Caratano that day is the number 9 horse. And you can just see this horse. It's one of these typical turf races here, just looking for racing room, trying to find a spot where this horse can run. Now, it looks like he's going to go on the inside. He's got to sort of go back outside again, and it just looks like, and he ran exceptionally well. I mean, this was in the English Channel. As we talked, there's King of Dreams, who I have picked in the stake there. So I just thought that this horse with a cleaner trip may have been able to win that race.
And he's kind of gives an honest effort every single start. I mean, he broke his maiden at first asking when he literally circled the entire field after breaking slowly. They only debuted him for $25,000 in that meeting, claiming that race. And then he's kind of stepped up each and every time. I know he hasn't been a repeat winner since then, but I loved the race in the English Channel as well.
Yeah. And the number 7, Tellington, that's why I had to use multiple horses, in my Rainbow 6. This one stretching out to the mile in the 16, responded in the first race after the claim by who? Saffie Joseph Jr. with a second-place finisher going a mile. I'm not leaving this guy off my ticket.
I couldn't leave him off of anything either. I mean, he's a 2-time winner here at Gulfstream Park. Last time was his first start for the new connections, but he was a respectable second in there. He beat another runner in this field today, Heat of the Night. The barn just does tremendous work. So he's another one. When you look at these two, what have they done wrong? Really nothing.
Well, and then today's the day, the number 10. Hopes lived up to his name today. He stretches out around the 2 turns to return from the layoff. You know, he's going 5 furlong, but I like Kelsey Danner. She does a good job. She's got a positive return of investment of over, I think, 239 with horses doing this, stretching out. And one of those horses, this is where maybe you get a horse like this to win, to beat these heavy heads in this race. That helps your Rainbow Six ticket.
When you look at the races, too, the last 3 have been in Kelsey Danner's barn, all been on the board finishes. Loves it here at Gulfstream Park. I mean, another one that really hasn't done anything wrong. Last time out, he was closing from off the pace, but Breakthrough was just probably the best horse in the race and was able to win that one.
We're going to go to race number 9, 7 furlongs. Maiden claim is 3-year-old, $16,000. Of course, this is where our late pick 4 starts, and I'm going to see how different we are in race number 10 when she shows me your ticket.
Just used 2 horses in here. Catherine's Joy, the number 3, 2-1 on the morning line, as well as the number 7, Staten Island, which I do have an interesting trainer stat there for Jeff Engler. Race 10, this is where we differ. I know when you looked at the field, Cramden is the horse you like, the number 7. I also really like the number 5, Easy Stride, and my top pick is the number 9, Calabash, who maybe I'm biased, made me some money, 2 starts back in April. And then race 11, I used 2 runners in here. I used the number 7, GG Conquest, and the 8, Union Gap, who last time out had a pretty nice win, going 6 furlongs over the main track. Then to wrap things up, I like the number 2, Wolfhand, who I know is your long shot play. I don't think we're going to get 8-1 now. And then I used the number 3, Lord Darnley, and then the top pick in there is the morning line favorite, the number 6, Kick in the Gas.
What?
$18 play.
What did you just say?
I said kick in the gas.
Never mind. Just joking there. 7 furlongs is this 9th race. Maiden claim is 3-year-old, $16,000. No scratches, no jockey changes in here. I went to the inside horse in here. Sandy Dude is turning back to 7 furlongs. Rallied to finish second when facing similar quality in that 12-5 maiden race contested at a mile. Barry Croft, Miguel Vasquez handling the inside draw this afternoon. It's not the best place you want to be going 7 furlongs on the inside. Is looking for a horse that maybe I get a little bit of a price. Second on the morning line. I threw that one on the ticket. But 7 furlongs inside post, a little shaky.
I look at his races, I guess the first race of his career was one of his good ones and his most recent. So you look in the middle there, he was against tougher competition, really didn't show much, was well beaten. They tried him on the turf. So I think when you look at him, yes, last time out, pretty good performance. Now going to cut back to 7/8, but needs to still maybe step up a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, you're right when you were talking about your ticket to Catherine's Joy, stepping up to the 16 level again after responding to the addition of Lasix. Really good. Absolutely the one to beat, I think, on paper.
Because 2 starts back, I mean, she was distant. Grand Wiser was able to draw clear in there, and you see Sackett beaten by 7 lengths, but at least last time out, she stayed at the 7/8 distance, and she just missed by a neck in there. So her last 2, she's been really strong. I think it's been beneficial for him, I should say, to kind of sit off the pace, because when we saw him on the turf course, he was forwardly placed and tired in those longer races.
Well, I'm going to hit a stat on number 7, Staten Island, who I used on my ticket a little further down, who was really solid in defeat last time out.
So we're going to look at Jeff Engler specifically with this trainer stat. Just look at second off the layout the past 45 to 180 days, and I looked specifically at the last 3 years, and he wins at 22% from a sample size of 41, almost in the money half the time. The ROI was the best one we saw today, $4.20. And when you look at Staten Island, those first 3 career races were on the turf, never hit the board, was kind of never really involved much, you know, kind of faded in those. But last time out, I thought dropping from those maiden special weight levels off the layoff onto the dirt at today's distance, I thought it was a pretty nice third in that field at 10.
Spent a lot of my childhood looking at Staten Island from New York City growing up. That's all I can tell you about Staten Island. I think I was there once, so I'm not...
Hopefully that's not the case come race time, where Staten Island's way in front of your horses.
Let's go to race number 10. We're on the turf. If you're just joining us, you missed a lot, but the turf course is listed as good. The rail is 36 feet. It's a mile claimer. 3-year-olds are 4 and up. Non-winners of 3 in life. 12-5 down to 10. Just scratched the main track only. Big field of 9 horses in here. And Calabash is cutting back to his best distance. 4 starts with those 2 wins.
2 races back, you know, he didn't go off favored in there. I believe he was favored on the morning line or close to it, and he was just kind of much the best in there, a 76 buyer speed figure. And then last time out in his first start for Saffie Joseph Jr., he tried to make a rally from off the pace. I think he was a little further back than he wanted to be, but he was beaten by 3.5 lengths in there. And I know the horse that you like seeing that. Cramden beat him last time out.
Yeah, Cramden. And we're going to turn back to the mile today. We're going to just go back, sort of a window dressing replay that I want to show you, just so that this horse ran well in a mile in the 16th. And then you see Cramden in the inside there, and it just looks like, you know, I thought he ran well. I thought he had to wait to make that move, and he comes between and runs well, you know, to be second in there. So I just thought he'd be okay, you know, coming down. He just looked like he was game to me that day, and I was going to go back and, you know, go back with him today, and this is what I liked. It looked like he, found another gear, he changed leads, and he just drew off. So I'm thinking he can run well today. It's Mark Cassie, it's MC Al Jaramillo. So that was my thought process today, that this horse getting a little bit of price. Was 10-1 that day. I don't know what he is this afternoon. Let's see, Cramden, he's 9-2 on the board. So thought maybe I'd get a little bit of a price. And I used Mr. Tito's in second, who's stepping up to the next level, moving to the rail. I thought broke very well last time out from post 10 and defeated those two lifetime claimers. That was on a soft and turf listed as good, and that's what this horse is going to get today.
I think these are both live horses. I kind of have them in different spots than you. I think the one thing I want to say about Cramden, too, you mentioned he was 10-1 last time out. I think a big part of that was because he was coming out of those races at Tampa. People don't necessarily, I don't even know sometimes, how do you kind of transfer that form here? And his races there weren't the greatest. So I don't think we're going to get that today, especially based on the morning line. And then you mentioned about Mr. Tito's. The win last time out was really nice from him. He took some play in there. You mentioned the surface was good, but his last two races in the Jennifer Young barn, they've been quite strong.
And what about the number 5, Easy Stride? You had third, I have fourth in there. Is one of the horses that scares me a little bit on my Rainbow Six ticket.
These Steve Dewaskin horses this meet have scared me. He's winning at 20%. This is a 2-time winner locally, so both the wins have come here. And I thought last time out, pretty nice win, scored the upset at 8-1. It was going a mile at the 12.5 level, so we're staying everything the same today. I mean, same kind of, claiming tag, distance, and just kind of drew clear in there. So we'll see with the trip. I think this race is really going to be interesting to see how it unfolds on the turf.
Race 11 is on the dirt. Dirt main track is fast. This is a mile claimer for 3-year-olds of 4 and up, non-winners of 2 in life. I went, and you did too, with 8 Union Gap, who moves to the Bill Thoreno's barn after the claim, stretches out to the mile, posting its 3rd consecutive victory. Looks like a good claim by this barn.
Looks like a very good claim. I mean, broke the meet at the $16,000 level and was kind of closer to the pace than those last two. They've sat off the pace in both of them. I think last time out, the pace was a good tempo for this one, able to close and draw off in there. I mean, to have all 3 wins here in a row, I think that says a lot. And, Bill Thoreno's, he doesn't necessarily keep horses here during the summer. I know he's got some horses up in Canada right now as well as here. So this one's been doing really great things.
I used the number 7 horse I did not use in here, and that is Gigi Conquest, a horse that we know very well around here.
I think when you look at the last 2 races, there's a lot of head scratching that goes on. Obviously, 2 back was kind of pulled up in that event, walked off the track at 6 furlongs, and then last time out going today's distance at a mile. Not the best performance, was out distance in the end. Tonalism was kind of clear, but it was really the top 2, Tonalism and Tone Feeling. So when you go back 3, 4, 5 races ago, this horse certainly fits this level.
I used the 4 Braccio di Ferro in there, drop it to the 12.5 level, rally to finish a distant third. It was distant, but it was 20 condition claimers going a mile. Jose D'Angelo, Edwin Gonzalez trying to notch the gelding's 2nd career victory. I just thought that this horse could move forward this afternoon.
Yeah, last time out was well beaten, exiting that same race that we were just talking about for Gigi Conquest. But 2 back was actually making up some ground late, just missed by 2 lengths while in for that $20,000 tag, so dropping today for 12.5.
Last race today is on the turf, 1 mile and 116. Maiden claim is 3 and up, 12.5. And you started off. I think the one to beat is the number 6, Kick in the Gas, for Saffie Joseph Jr.
Going to get blinkers on today after that debut. The debut was back in April, going a mile and a 16th on the turf course while in the Christophe Clement barn. And honestly, just kind of even. There wasn't really much to take away from it. It was a 10-horse field, finished 4th in there. Iman, the winner, came back to win next time out. The best distance, who finished 3rd, graduated in the next start as well. Now joining another great barn. Christophe does great with turf runners, but now the big thing too is $35,000 maiden claimers down to 12.5.
So we're not getting 8-1 or whatever it is on Wolfhand today. Who's the?
No.
I like the breeding on the source for the turf, and that's the number 2, Gelded Son of Candy Ride. Debut drops to the 12.5 left first start. He showed some speed. He faded, but that was against maiden special weight company going a mile in the 16th on the Keeneland main track. Not connections that you jump off the page at. You thought that's why you'd get a little bit of a price. Murat Sankal removes the blinkers. I just thought this horse was intriguing when you're looking for a little bit of a price.
It was 60-1 on the debut, so it's tough. When you're at Keeneland, even though I know that was back in July at Keeneland, those are tough maiden special weight level, now in for 12.5. You mentioned the equipment change, but the barn also wins at 17% with first-time turf runner, so pretty nice number.
Yeah, and Lord Darnley, stretching out to after rallying to finish 3rd and 2nd, respectively, against Similar going a mile. The horse has been right there. Roger Lauren, the trainer, Chantal in the saddle.
Has a bullet work coming into this race just on June 20th at 49-1, breezing on the turf up at Palm Meadows. And just for me, a consistency angle. The last 2 turf races, they've both been on the board finishes and pretty strong. I mean, 2 back with second being by neck at 71-1. Not just small money there, right? And then last time out third, took some more play in that race.
Yeah, why don't we have them win second when they're 71-1 on
I
our exact
never
ticket?
do. Never have them.
Well, that's how we see the 12 race card. We got a few minutes to get to our lightning round, and we got a really interesting week coming up next week. You know, we're going to start it off with live racing on next Wednesday and Thursday. And I must have been asked over the last 10 years, why do we run on Wednesday and Thursday? Wednesday is the final day of the year. Thursday is the first day of the fiscal year. You have to run on the last, to run on the first day to be part of whatever it is that Florida says. I don't understand it much.
I don't understand it either. I mean, if it's the fiscal year, then we're going to celebrate my birthday on the 1st. It's a new year, and I'm a New Year's baby. But looking at that, too, it's going to be interesting. We're not going to race on Friday, but we're going to race Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have 4 days of racing next week.
You know, we got mandatory payout today, but we have to have a mandatory payout in everything on Wednesday because it's the final day of the year. So not only the Rainbow 6, the late pick 5, and the super high 5, everything must go. So 2 mandatory payouts over the next few days. And that's what I said. It's just going to be an interesting week. And we haven't even touched, you know, the weekend when we have some great, fantastic stakes racing. And then we have some horses that have been successful here in South Florida by our perennial leading trainer, Todd Fletcher. And one of those horses is Gilles, who's won the Grade 3 Forward Girl, who's going to be in the Grade 1 Mother Goose today. And you're going to see Gilles there. The big favorite at 3-5 was very game winning. I think 12-1, a small field in the Mother Goose. But I thought this horse ran exceptionally well. Last 2 races haven't been that good, but I just thought, you know, we'll be rooting for, we're going to take credit that this is a Gulfstream horse.
Yeah, we always do our homework. Any horses that win here, a big race during the championship meet, we kind of follow them to see how they do after that. So you mentioned great conditioner. It'll be interesting to see how much play this one takes just in this weekend in the Grade 1 Mother Goose.
Well, talking about great condition is a great segue into this. Kathleen O'Connell, what a day she had yesterday. She starts 3 horses. And she wins 3 races yesterday. So that's pretty good. This one was unbelievable. Well-defined, just cruising on the off track.
With the conditions yesterday, she necessarily wasn't going to have 3 runners. Well-defined was able to draw in and just really crushed his competition in that race that was moved from the turf onto the main track. But had to be a good day for KO. And when you see her horses, I mean, all the time, I feel like you always have to look at her horses and really consider them here.
And Kathleen, over the years, when she gets hot, she stays hot for a while. So if you're thinking of putting your Rainbow 6 ticket today, mandatory, if you can see any Kathleen horses in there, give them a strong second look. So that's how we see the Saturday card. Ashley and I will be out here all day long, right?
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of minutes from over there.